Good morning. So today we're going to talk about solving quadratics by the square root method. The square root method, it has to be just the square term of a quadratic and the number term. So what's missing here is the middle term. To be able to do the square root method, the bx term is missing. Okay, so to solve a quadratic, you're going to isolate the square term. Okay, then you're going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, all right, let's do an example. Alright, so when I want to solve x squared minus 49, I do not have a b term. So I want to isolate my x squared. So that means I'm going to add 49 to both sides. So now I'm going to be left with x squared is equal to a 49. And now the square term is by itself. So when the square term is by itself, then you now can take the square root of both sides. And when you take the square root of both sides, you're going to be left with a positive and a negative 7 here. Okay, because if you think about this, a negative 7 squared is a positive 49, and then also positive 7 squared is a positive 49. So both of those values could be able to go in there for your x. Okay? Alright, let's do another one here. Okay, so I want to isolate the square term, so I'm going to add my 100, so I'm going to have x squared is equal to 100. Then I'm going to take the square root of both sides here. So I'll be left with x is going to be equal to a positive and a negative 10. So let's do another one. So x squared plus a 25. Okay, isolate the square term, so you'll get x squared is equal to a negative 25. Take the square root of both sides. So take the square root of both sides here. So x is going to be no solution here. Because can you take the square root of a negative number? No. Alright, what about this one? Here we're going to subtract 7. So you're going to get an x squared is equal to an 81. Now take the square root of both sides. So x here is going to be a positive and a negative 9. Alright, let's do some more. Alright, so let's look at this one. This one's 6x squared is equal to 54. So I still want to isolate the square term. So it's got a 6 multiplied to it. So remember, still to isolate it, you need to divide both sides by 6. So you will have x squared is equal to a 9. Now we will take the square root of both sides. So x will be equal to a plus and a minus 3. Okay. Alright, over here for number 6, I've got 3/4 x squared is equal to 12. So same thing, I need to isolate the square term, so I need to multiply by the reciprocal, 4/3. So multiply by 4 over 3. So you'll be left with an x squared is equal 3 goes into 12 4 times. So 4 times 4 would be a 16. Then take the square root of both sides. So x is going to be equal to a positive and a negative 4. Good. Alright, what about this one here? So 9x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. So I isolate the square term, so move the 16 over, so it's going to become a positive 16. Divide both sides by 9. So it's going to have x squared is equal to 16 over 9. That can't reduce, right? And then now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So when I take the square root of both sides here, that is going to be a perfect square. So that is going to be a 4 over a 3, a positive and a negative. Okay? Let's do one more. Sometimes they may not be a perfect square, so you can either leave them in that form or turn them into a decimal. So let's isolate the square here. So I'm going to subtract 5. So I'm going to get x squared is equal to a 12. And then take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to have a x is equal to a plus and minus square root of 12. Or it could be a plus and minus 2 square root of 3. Or it could be a decimal plus and minus 3.46. Okay? Good? Alright, so I want y'all to try to finish those worksheets up today, and I hope you have a great day.